Stop scrolling. You know the face. You know the name, Yu Menglong. The charming star of Eternal Love, a man who defined an era of television. But what you don't know is the chilling, tragic truth behind the headline that stopped China cold. Forget the whispers, forget the gossip you saw on Weibo. In the next few minutes, we are taking you deep into the final, mysterious hours of his life, not in a glamorous movie set, but in a quiet Beijing apartment building, where a night of fun ended in unspeakable tragedy. We're breaking down the police report, the deleted paparazzi posts, and the heart-wrenching statement from his own mother, to uncover the crucial, final moments that led to his death. We're exposing the dark cycle of celebrity death and speculation that swallowed this case whole. If you want the unvarnished truth, the cold facts that cut through the noise, you need to stick with us. Hit that like button and let's dive into a case that proves sometimes the most shocking story is the one that's factually true. The air in Beijing was still, the kind of deceptive calm that often precedes a storm. On the morning of September 11th, a tremor of shock, disbelief, and unbearable sorrow radiated from a single Weibo post that shattered the peace of millions. With unbearable sorrow, we announce that our beloved Menglong fell to his death on September 11th. Yu Menglong, the 37-year-old actor and singer, a heartthrob whose career had soared with iconic roles like the Ninth Prince in Eternal Love, was gone. But his death wasn't from a long illness or an accident on a film set. It was a sudden, violent, and instantly fatal event from a friend's fifth-floor apartment. This was not a case of final moments at the hospital. This was a scene of immediate, devastating finality on the cold ground outside a residential building. And the simple, brutal finality of the tragedy is the single most important detail that the public, searching for a complex conspiracy, often forgets. The police were clear, no criminality was involved. But in the court of public opinion, the verdict was far from settled. The official narrative, pieced together from police statements, the management team's announcement, and subsequently leaked information, paints a somber, all-too-human picture of a relaxed night that took a horrific turn. It was the evening of September 10th. Yu Menglong was with friends, a group of 5 or 6 others, at a residence in Beijing. This wasn't a public event, it was a private, social gathering. Reports indicate dinner, conversation, and, crucially, alcohol. Alcohol, a common social lubricant, is now widely accepted to have been the tragic catalyst. His mother, in a later, desperate attempt to quell the swirling rumors, publicly stated that his death was due to an accidental fall from a building after drinking. This simple confession, from the person who knew him best, cuts the deepest. Sometime after 2 a.m., the gathering wound down. Menglong decided to stay over. According to a now-deleted, highly influential post from a paparazzo, the source of many early, unverified details, he retired to one of the bedrooms and locked the door. This detail is chilling. Was he seeking privacy? Was he feeling the effects of the alcohol and simply trying to ensure he wasn't disturbed? We may never know his exact thoughts in that moment of closing the door. This 3-hour window remains the most intensely scrutinized period of the entire timeline. Inside the apartment, everyone was asleep. Outside, the city was hushed. The property management staff, interviewed in another quickly deleted paparazzi post, provided the cold, hard timestamp. The fall occurred around 5 a.m. Imagine the scene, the city is just beginning to stir. Streetlights are still glowing. A window screen is ripped, mangled. A fatal misstep, a disastrous loss of balance, or a moment of disorientation, amplified by alcohol, resulted in a fall from the 5th floor. This is where the public's search for a dramatic, cinematic hospital ending collides with the stark reality of the police report. The first person on the scene was not one of his friends. It was a local neighbor walking their dog. This ordinary, mundane act of a morning routine was interrupted by the horrifying discovery of the actor's body on the ground floor. The neighbor immediately called the police. When Yu Menglong's friends woke up and were preparing to leave the flat around 6 a.m., they were met with the news, or perhaps saw the flashing lights, that confirmed the unimaginable. The crucial, heartbreaking detail, confirmed by the property management staff and implicitly by the police ruling, he died instantly. There was no rush to the emergency room, no frantic efforts by doctors, no bedside vigil. The moment of impact was the end. His journey was not a slow fade in a hospital bed, but a sudden, violent full stop. This is why the sensationalized claims of complex hospital drama are entirely false. The tragedy was in its swift, irreversible nature. Yu Menglong's death immediately triggered what some call the celebrity death conspiracy curse in China. His case, alongside that of performer Qiao Renliang years earlier, highlights a terrifying trend. When a celebrity's death is sudden and ruled an accident or non-criminal, the vacuum of information is instantly filled by an avalanche of dark, baseless rumors. Within hours of the announcement, the internet was ablaze. Theories of foul play, drug abuse, and involvement with powerful figures, all without a shred of evidence, went viral. This relentless speculation was so damaging that authorities were forced to take a rare and dramatic step. Beijing police detained 3 women for making and spreading false allegations about the actor's death. This official crackdown underscored how completely the public narrative had derailed from the police's initial, definitive conclusion: accidental fall. The final, and most credible, counter to the conspiracy theories came from the source of greatest pain, Yu Menglong's own mother. She stepped into the public eye to confirm the devastating truth: the fall was an accident, compounded by the presence of alcohol. This was an act of both mourning and duty, a mother sacrificing her private grief to protect her son's legacy from vicious, unfounded attacks. Her statement was the final, tragic nail in the coffin of the conspiracy theories. It cemented the reality: a talented life was lost to a moment of staggering, fatal misfortune. In a case where the online speculation was so loud, the physical evidence offers the only silent, unarguable truth. The report mentions one key piece of physical evidence at the scene: the flat's window mesh was broken. This detail is the final, mind-numbing scene of the tragedy. It suggests a struggle, a forceful impact, or a desperate attempt to gain or maintain balance. The scene in the apartment, minutes before the fall, likely involved disorientation and panic. Scenario 1. Disorientation. Stumbling, perhaps feeling ill, and leaning too heavily against the window, causing the screen to buckle and give way. Scenario 2. Accidental opening. An attempt to open the window for fresh air while intoxicated, losing balance in the process. Regardless of the exact sequence, the broken mesh is the silent testimony to the final, split-second, catastrophic mistake. This was not a premeditated act, it was a physical manifestation of an uncontrolled, accidental descent. The tragedy of Yu Menglong's death is not just the loss of a star, it is a profound lesson in the isolation and pressures of celebrity. Here are the true, mind-blowing takeaways from this case that every viewer needs to understand. The illusion of protection. Celebrities are often surrounded by managers, assistants, and friends, creating an illusion of safety. Yet, in his final, critical moments, Yu Menglong was alone in a locked room. Fame could not shield him from the most ordinary human mistake: misjudging a moment while under the influence. The power of narrative versus fact. His death became a test case for social media's power to rewrite reality. The public wanted a thrilling plot twist, a dark secret, a powerful enemy. The fact that he simply had too much to drink and fell was too mundane for the drama-hungry internet. The sheer volume of false information created a trauma for his family that went beyond mourning. The cost of scrutiny. The police were forced to reiterate their finding and arrest people for libel. The family was forced to sacrifice their privacy to protect his name. The cost of celebrity in the internet age is this: your death is not your own, and the narrative of your life and end will be relentlessly fought over by strangers. While the tragic circumstances of his final night are difficult to process, Yu Menglong's legacy should not be defined by a single, accidental fall. He was a beloved actor, a versatile singer, and an emerging style icon. His roles in high-profile dramas cemented his place in the industry. He brought joy, romance, and dramatic depth to millions of viewers across Asia. The final, factual moments of his life were marked not by a dramatic hospital intervention, but by the stillness of an early morning street and the shattering sound of a window mesh. His true final moments were the silent, tragic moments that followed the sound of the fall, a silence that was almost immediately drowned out by the noise of the internet. As you reflect on this story, remember the facts: he died instantly. It was ruled an accident. His mother confirmed alcohol was involved. The narrative is simple, but the sorrow is immense. Let's honor Yu Menglong not by seeking out unfounded conspiracy theories, but by remembering the light he brought to the screen. Hit the notification bell to ensure you don't miss our next deep dive into the untold stories of cinema and fame. Rest in peace, Yu Menglong. Your legacy on screen will endure. We're going deeper. We told you about the tragic end, but the real story, the one that will send a shiver down your spine, is locked within those final, chaotic hours. Forget the rumors. Tonight, we're reconstructing the last, terrifying scenes of Yu Menglong's life, minute by minute, behind the walls of that Beijing apartment. Picture the apartment, high-end, stylish, the kind of place where Beijing's elite unwind. Yu Menglong, the star who could light up any room, was there with a small group of friends. 5 or 6 people. It sounded like an ordinary, relaxed evening. But for a celebrity of his magnitude, nothing is truly ordinary. The drinks flowed. Later, his mother would confirm the devastating role alcohol played. We often see celebrities holding a drink on screen, but that night, the alcohol was blurring the lines between the public facade and the private man. Was he laughing too loudly? Was he escaping the endless pressure of the spotlight, the relentless perfection expected of him? Every sip, every moment of relief, was a step toward a catastrophic loss of control. The atmosphere, initially light, was growing heavy with the weight of the evening's consumption. He wasn't on a set, he was just a man trying to relax, unaware that he was standing on the edge of the deepest, darkest cliff. The party begins to wind down. Sometime after 2 a.m., Yu Menglong makes a critical, final choice. He retires to one of the bedrooms. This is where the story takes its chilling, intimate turn. He didn't just walk into a room, he locked the door. Why? In his own home, surrounded by friends, why the need for immediate, absolute isolation? The heavy weight of inebriation is a possibility, a desire to avoid being seen or disturbed while vulnerable. But this detail, the deliberate click of the lock, seals off his final hours from anyone who could have intervened. He separated himself from life. Imagine him in that room. The world outside, the fame, the expectations, the friends all muffled by the closed door. The disorientation from the alcohol is heavy. The world is spinning just slightly. He is alone, trapped not by bars, but by his own fame and the immediate, powerful effects of the drinks. This quiet, solitary moment in a locked room, completely unobserved, is the true stage for the tragedy. The clock ticks toward 5 a.m. A property management source, whose statement appeared in a quickly deleted post, pinpointed this time as the moment of the fall. The city is still shrouded in that deep, pre-dawn silence. What happened in that room at 5 a.m.? The official, inescapable physical evidence is the key. The flat's window mesh was broken. This detail is the smoking gun that screams accident. It proves a forceful, panicked interaction with the barrier. It wasn't a slow, deliberate act. It was a rapid, disoriented struggle. Reconstruct the scene. Asterisk the fumble. Yu Menglong is heavily intoxicated. Perhaps he needed air, felt sick, or was simply staggering toward the light. Asterisk the imbalance. He reaches the window. The world is tilting. He lurches, throwing his weight forward to catch himself, but his depth perception is gone. Asterisk the catastrophe. His full weight, magnified by the forward momentum, slams into the flimsy wire screen. The mesh, designed only to keep out insects, buckles, rips, and gives way with a horrifying metallic shriek that no one inside the soundproofed apartment heard. The 5-story drop was instantaneous, brutal, and without mercy. His final, desperate physical struggle was with a mesh screen, and he lost. He died instantly upon impact on the pavement below. The hospital drama the public craved never happened. His story ended right there, on the cold ground. The tragedy was discovered not by frantic friends or screaming sirens, but by the most mundane detail of a morning routine, a neighbor walking their dog. Imagine the scene from the dog walker's perspective, the quiet, crisp morning air. The dog sniffs the pavement. Then, the discovery. A figure lies motionless on the ground. A sight no ordinary citizen ever expects to encounter. It was this neighbor who called the police. Not the inner circle. Not the management. A stranger, carrying out a daily chore, was the first witness to the star's devastating finality. When his friends finally woke up, around 6 a.m., they emerged from the apartment to a police cordon, flashing lights, and the horrific, unmovable reality: Yu Menglong was gone. The locked door was now a cruel symbol of how tragically alone he was in that final, fatal moment. The story of Yu Menglong is not one of secret hospital battles. It's the chilling, definitive tale of a star who, for a brief, catastrophic moment, was just a man, separated from help by a locked door and betrayed by the broken mesh of a window. Don't let the truth be lost to gossip. If this investigation and reconstruction stunned you, make sure you do these 4 things. Like this video right now to help us break through the misinformation. Comment your thoughts below. Share this with someone who needs to hear the real story. Subscribe and hit the notification bell for more deep dive investigations. Now, tell us what you think in the comments. What does the broken window mesh tell you about his final state of mind? Was it sheer panic or total disorientation? Do you think the locked door was his final, tragic attempt to find privacy, or was it a sign of distress? Knowing he died instantly, how does this factual end compare to the dramatic rumors you initially heard?